kita beraya di Korea.
Our important mission today.
진짜 맛있어.
Masa anugerah terindah di Astro dan Astro Go.
Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim is confident that the Malaysian economy will achieve stronger growth between 4 to 5% in 2024.
Among Palestine's top two officials were jointly charged with 161 counts of money laundering, criminal breach of trust and cheating. Malaysia will experience drier and hotter weather due to prolonged lack of rain in the final phase of the northeast monsoon.
Raya ini, filem-filem blockbuster untuk anda sekeluarga
Bermula sekarang.
rasai pelbagai aksi yang memukau.
Aku sayang family kita buat semua ni.
Bollywood yang menyentuh jiwa.
I love you.
Seram. Lagi ngeri.
Aku tak percaya itu anak kita.
Filem-filem hebat, momen terbaik, masa anugerah terindah.
Leng, tangkap aku, Leng. Bawa aku masuk lokap.
Di Astro dan Astro Go.
Daulat tuanku.
Aku dari unit khas PDRM. Aku adalah polis yang tangkap polis. Namaku Syarifuddin Husin. Panggil saja Syarif.
Di dalam setiap berita yang dibawa, konteks amat penting. Kami sentiasa membawakan yang tergempar dan terkini. Pastikan Astro AWANI menjadi pilihan anda, tidak kira di mana sahaja anda berada.
Good evening, you are tuned in to AWANI Tonight with me, Cynthia Ng. Muslims nationwide kicked off their Hari Raya Idul Fitri celebrations with solat prayers this morning. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim and Raja Permaisuri Agong Raja Zarid Sofia attended the prayers at the main surau of Istana Negara. Their Majesties were also accompanied by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim and Cabinet Ministers. The prayers were led by Istana Negara Religious Officer Dato' Munir Mat Saleh. It marks the first time Sultan Ibrahim performed the Idul Fitri prayer at the palace after taking his oath of office as the 17th Yang di-Pertuan Agong on January 31st. The remains of a Malaysian student who died in a road accident in New Zealand has been safely brought back to Malaysia. Wan Nur Adlina Alisa was buried at a cemetery in Shah Alam on Wednesday morning.
In a statement, the Foreign Ministry said it had completed all efforts to assist the 5 Malaysian students involved in the incident at Lake Tekapo on March 30th. It said only one student was still being treated at Christchurch Hospital, while the other 2 injured had been discharged. The other student who died, Megat Ashman Akif Megat Irman Jeffni, was buried at the Muslim cemetery in Bromley, Christchurch, earlier this month.
Rape cases involving underage girls have increased in the last 3 years. Police believe most of them started with grooming through social media, including chat applications like WhatsApp.
Bukit Aman's Sexual Women and Child Investigation Division Principal Assistant Director Siti Kamsia Hassan said most of the victims told police they got to know the perpetrators through social media, such as online chat forums first before meeting them in person. Police statistics show that 1,299 rape cases involving underage girls were reported in 2021, rising to 1,388 in 2022 and 1,590 in 2023. Siti Kamsia said the role of parents is crucial in tackling the grooming issue and advised parents to monitor their children's activities, especially the use of telecommunication devices and equipment.
As a top destination for imported waste, Malaysia faces mounting challenges in managing and disposing this influx. Hema Mahadevan, who is leading the plastics campaign for Greenpeace Malaysia, shares more on the broken recycling system.
Greenpeace calls it the recycling myth. Worldwide, only 9% of plastic has been recycled. In Malaysia, as of 2022, only 33.1% of waste has been recycled. We do not have any capacity to deal with our own waste and the waste coming from other countries. And it's not Japan. I've been to some of these sites in 2021. It's from UK, it's from Ireland, it's from America, for example. And that has now, there's a snowball effect because now we're not only dealing with plastic waste, but we have been receiving numerous reports of other waste coming into the country, that is the e-waste, including illegal shipments from the US. So the plastic trade issue has brought a lot of problems besides just its plastic waste. When it was happening, besides the influx of illegal recyclers, legal recyclers were also having a hard time getting rid of a lot of the waste that was brought in because not all plastics are recyclables.
Hema explains how the huge amount of waste dumped in Malaysian landfills affects the people.
High-income countries have been putting up this narrative in their own countries that we are solving our waste issues, but in reality is that they are just sending their waste to lower income countries, and Malaysia being the brunt of it. And it's been happening for years now. Who are the ones who are impacted by this? It's us. It's the local communities in Malaysia who are facing the brunt of it. You know, they're burning some of these plastics, especially by the illegal recyclers. There's illegal open landfills. There's facilities generating toxic waste, you know, that is your air being polluted, water pollution, and they've all caused environmental and health problems to our people.
Biodegradable and compostable materials are not the answer, as they perpetuate a throwaway culture. Hema calls for a shift in the narrative from waste management to reducing the production of plastics.
And in terms of consumers, we can start really demanding for change. You know, consumers are constantly blamed for the plastic pollution by the petrochemical industry. However, we are really not given a choice. For example, almost everything comes packaged with single-use plastics, whether it's at the grocery stores or whether it's restaurants or whether we on online platforms, for example, to name a few. So it is not our job as consumers to solve this issue, but we can start asking for changes. And whilst we are doing that, I think we really need to start also refusing single-use plastics, making lifestyle changes to reduce our plastic consumption at home.
With plastic production growing out of control, Hema says long-term action is needed to fix the system.
The Malaysian government can introduce market incentives for reuse initiatives. So this could include tax breaks, subsidies, priority in government procurement processes for businesses that adopt reuse models. So that would be an example of your reuse and refill businesses, zero waste stores, for example. And this would include incentives for business to switch to, or like current businesses who are not there yet, to switch to reuse systems as well. We can leverage and build upon existing policies and shift the focus and conversation to plastic production reduction, and then, you know, transition to reuse and refill, reuse and refill economy in phases. But, you know, recently, young Berhormat Tuan Nik Nazmi came out saying that NRES is in negotiations to formulate a national policy specifically on plastics. And I think that's a great move, but that is, you know, we need to look at all the factors that I mentioned earlier in terms of bioplastics, in terms of companies using bioplastics as a gateway to greenwash, for example. So all of these approaches and all of these things have to really be taken into account before we come up with a policy, basically with a national policy.
We'll go for a quick break. Stay tuned for more.
Penatnya terbang sana, terbang sini. Inilah antara sebabnya aku terlepas nak tengok rancangan kegemaran aku. Tapi apa dah hal, dengan adanya Astro Go, balik je daripada kerja, aku boleh stream bila-bila masa, di mana jua. Aduh, dia ni memekak ajalah. Stream tempat lain lah. Aman sikit.
Sekejap. Muat turun aplikasi Astro Go sekarang. Percuma untuk pelanggan Astro.
US President Joe Biden has said Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's approach on Gaza was a mistake and urged Israel to call for a ceasefire. Biden's comments were some of his strongest criticism yet of Netanyahu amid growing tensions over the civilian death toll in Gaza.
I think what he's doing is a mistake. I don't agree with his approach. I think it's outrageous that those three vehicles were hit by drones and taken out on a highway where it wasn't like it was along the shore. It wasn't like there was a convoy moving there, etc. So what I'm calling for is for the Israelis to just call for a ceasefire, allow for the next 6-8 weeks total access to all food and medicine going into the country.
Biden also stepped up pressure on Israel to allow more aid into devastated Gaza, saying he had spoken to Saudi Arabia, Jordan and Egypt, and that they were prepared to move this food in. Biden's latest comments underlined the dramatic shift in his Israel policy since Israel's killing of 7 World Central Kitchen aid workers in Gaza that sparked global outrage.
The normally festive month of Aidul-Fitri has morphed into sadness and suffering in Gaza. In the southern city of Rafah, Palestinians held morning Aidul-Fitri prayers by the ruins of Al-Farouq Mosque, 6 months into an Israeli air and ground campaign that has devastated the Palestinian enclave. Worshippers knelt in a street next to the wreckage of the mosque, laying out their prayer mats in the shadow of a white minaret that marked all that remained of the otherwise flattened building. Meanwhile, thousands of Palestinian worshippers also held Aidul-Fitri prayers at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound under tight Israeli security measures. Al-Aqsa is one of the holiest sites in Islam. The normally festive month has been overshadowed this year by the war in Gaza. Talks between Israel and Hamas to secure a ceasefire and release of hostages appear to have stalled.
South Koreans headed to the polls today to elect its new parliament in what is seen as a major political test for Conservative President Yoon Suk-yeol. Vote counting is now underway as the country awaits the results. Opinion polls are mixed, with the two main parties still too close to call in dozens of districts.
The National Assembly is currently held by the opposition Democratic Party. Whoever wins today's election will be able to set the tone for domestic politics for the next 4 years. Yoon was elected 2 years ago with the slimmest margin of victory in any presidential election in the country, defeating Lee Jae-myung of the Democrats by 0.73%. He has 3 years left in office, but his People's Power Party has struggled to push through its agenda in an opposition-dominated legislature. The president has also faced a series of political scandals since he was elected into office. His approval ratings remain low amid pressure to address a range of issues, including food prices, an aging population, and an ongoing doctors' strike.
Taiwan's President-elect Lai Ching-te appointed Cho Jung-tai, a former chairman of the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, to be his premier. The new premier and his cabinet will not assume their roles until Lai is inaugurated next month.
Lai, currently vice president, won the presidential election in January, although his party lost its majority in parliament. The main opposition party, Kuomintang, took the most seats, followed by the Taiwan People's Party. Under Taiwan's system of government, the president appoints the premier, who then appoints cabinet members with final approval from the president. Cho has said he would reach across party lines when forming his cabinet, with an announcement of his appointments to come soon.
A fire broke out in a packed residential building in Hong Kong today, killing 5 people and injuring 35 others, with 6 in critical condition. Local broadcaster RTHK said that the fire has started at a gym of the building, located in the busy Kowloon district. Firefighters rushed to the new Lucky House in the Jordan neighborhood after being called at around 7:50 a.m. local time. People could be seen waving towels and heard calling for help from inside the 16-story building. Built in 1964, the new Lucky House has 200 units. Over in the United States, the parents of a Michigan teenager who shot dead 4 students in 2021 have each been sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison. In a landmark case, Jennifer and James Crumbley are the first parents to be convicted in an American mass school shooting. During their trial, prosecutors said simple actions by both parents could have prevented the attack.
Jurors in separate trials found each parent of shooter Ethan Crumbley guilty of involuntary manslaughter. The Crumbleys did not know their son was planning the shooting at Oxford High School. But prosecutors said the parents failed to prevent the shooting by dismissing clear signs that their son's mental health had deteriorated, and noted that the parents had bought Ethan the gun he used in the attack. Ethan was 15 when he killed 4 students at the high school with a semi-automatic handgun. 7 others were wounded in the shooting. He is now serving life in prison without parole.
That wraps up AWANI Tonight. I'm Cynthia Ng. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Hello, Selamat Hari Raya. I'm Faye Kwan.
And I'm Fana Sheh.
And welcome to Lebaran Awani. Now, it is the first night of Raya and the festivities are in full swing here in Awani. Joining us in the studio today are 2 very special guests.